Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this, and welcome to the GrianaigCreations podcast channel. This is episode 99. My name is Kirsty, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm coming to you from a very warm Paisley in Scotland. So we are actually due a heat wave, a mini heat wave this week, and I happen to have some annual leave booked for this week. And it's already very warm, and it's only, well, my watch says it's 16 degrees, but it's warm in this room because of how big our living room windows are, and it acts like a greenhouse in here. So today's highest temperature is to be 18, but it's to get up to 24 degrees throughout the week. So it's going to be very warm in here, and it's probably going to be a bit unbearable. I already have a ton of ice in my juice cup. I just have some diluting juice this morning. Afternoon even, it's like 2 p.m. I've had the fan on to cool the room down, but I've opened up one half of the curtain to get some light in so that I can record. So yeah, hello, welcome to any returning viewers. Well, welcome back to any returning viewers, and welcome to any new viewers. Thank you so much for coming and checking out my little podcast. I haven't recorded in about 7-8 weeks. I've just had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. A lot of it has been particularly stressful, and I've just not been in the mood to record, or I've been really busy. There's been some weekends where I've been busy, like both Saturday and Sunday, and normally that's not quite how I like my weekends. I'm not a huge social butterfly, so I like to have plans on one day and then rest on the other day. But it's been really hectic the last couple of weekends. So yeah, I have a decent number of things to show off. I don't know if that's Scott just pulling up or not, so we might have to pause the podcast. I've got a decent number of things to show off, but the two finished objects that I actually have, I can't show off. They are with their recipients, but I can certainly post photos, like add photos to the video and talk through them. My watch is going to annoy me through this whilst it buzzes, because I don't know if it's going to be a text message or not, but it turns out it's just Instagram. So yeah, I might talk about some of the things that's been going on and where I've been, what I've been up to at the end, but the first thing that I'm going to point out is a bit of an elephant in the room. You'll see it throughout the video, so if I don't address it now, you'll be like, hang on, what? I got a new tattoo about 3 weekends ago. Oh god, I don't even remember. I have no sense of time. Something could happen like 3 years ago and it'll feel like yesterday to me sometimes, like if I remember. I think I got it done on the 6th. I don't know. But yeah, I got a new tattoo. So this is my new tattoo. It's quite awkward to show a little bit, but this is a planchet for a Ouija board. So it says goodbye, hello, yes and no. It's not finished. It is kind of still healing. I need to put cream on it, but I also have to put I get very dry hands, but I certainly need to go put my cream on it. It's very dry this morning. But yeah, I got a new tattoo. It's not finished. It still needs shading, and there's a couple of lines I'd like just to be gone over again, because they're very, very fine lines. Like when you look into the tattoo like in real detail, like up close, you can see like how detailed this is, like how particular the lines are. And like my tattooist Chris seriously deserves a lot of praise for this, because I don't know if many tattooists would have taken the care, like the time and the care with some of these lines as he did. But there is definitely a couple of lines I'd like him to go back over. It got to the point, this was, believe it or not, this was not the sorest tattoo I've had done. This is tattoo number 11. I have had tattoos that are way sorer for the majority of the time, or just way sorer at points throughout. Whereas this was only really sore on this part here, which is interesting because you would have thought the knuckles would have been the sorest. But it was more sore on the side of the hand. But when we got to like time, so I slotted in 2 hours to get this tattoo done. Because I know my limit. I know my limit when it comes to physical pain as like a tattoo, and that's 2 hours. And then after that my body just shuts down. And so I had booked a 2 hour slot, and it was coming up to 2 hours, and I was just like, oh, he has got to finish soon. Like, if he touches my hand one more time, I'm gonna cry. And thankfully he called it, and he's just like, right, that's us done for the day. You'll need to come back and get like the shading and stuff done. And I was just like, okay, that works for me. Please stop touching my hand. So yeah. I know some people have very strong opinions against tattoos, and I respect your opinion, but please respect my opinion that it is my body. I like tattoos, and therefore I'm going to continue to get more. This is just the start of something that's going to eventually work up, whether it's just going to be to this part of my arm or whether it's going to work all the way up. I haven't decided. But when I go back to get the shading done on this, I'm going to get actual tattoos on my fingers. I already have one tattoo on my finger, and that's my 2-inch tape measure, which you have no idea how ridiculously handy that has been. When I'm out the house without a tape measure and my pattern calls for like knit for 2 inches or knit for 1 inch, I can just go, okay, wee bit more, or bang on. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that wee elephant in the room, just because when I'm holding things up, you're gonna see a bit of it. So yeah, it's really awkward to show off on a camera. It's so much easier to show off in person. Like, that is not a natural position to hold your hand in. Okay, so I'm going to cover 2 finished objects, which again I have said I don't have with me, so I will insert some photos. I'm going to probably have to break this up because that's Scott saying he's just leaving his friend's house now, so he's going to be here in about 20 minutes. And I haven't really seen him for the last 24 hours because he was away. He was away down at his friend's house, and they were watching wrestling or something. Apparently it was on earlier than it is normally, and then because it was his friend's birthday on Friday, they went off to a big car boot sale over in Perthshire, and they were up at like 5 o'clock. I don't know if they were up at 5 o'clock this morning or they left at 5 o'clock this morning. I didn't get out of bed until 11:45. I've had a couple of bad nights sleep recently, and I just slept very well last night. So yeah, eventually I might pause this and I'm gonna maybe split it up. I have the full next week off of work, so I might do little segments every couple of days and talk about different projects. So if I look a bit different, or like I look more disheveled, then you know why. But I'm just gonna make the most of this next week off. I hope to get outside with my spinning wheel. I just have the urge to spin some new stuff, but really I know I need to really sit down and start working on the stuff for the wedding. And my head is like, my heart is just like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I know I need to do it, so I'm not doing it. Does that make sense? Like, I'm really struggling to like find the motivation to do it because I have to do it. I'm just really grateful and thankful for the people that have offered to make some stuff for the wedding, like leaves and eyeballs. Whenever I tell someone I've got someone knitting eyeballs, they're like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, yeah. Anyway, let's cover some finished objects, and then I might have to stop because I want to actually chat with Scott and see how he's doing and how his day was. Okay, so I finished the Stephen West Garter Marler cardigan. This was a project for my mum. It was meant to be ready for Christmas, just passed, but I got it ready for her birthday, so that's better than nothing. I will hopefully have inserted a photo of what that looks like, and unfortunately my little baggie of all the yarns is upstairs and I don't remember them, so I will pause the video and go upstairs and get them. Okay, so I've nipped upstairs and I forgot I had actually kept my yarn labels in this little Perspex box. So the labels were literally right in front of me the whole time. But I went upstairs and I grabbed the yarns. So there are 2 yarns in here that I did not use, which was I've never really been able to know how to read this person's tag. So Fiberlia. Sorry. I didn't use this one because this is quite a thick 4-ply, and when I held it double, it was definitely thicker than DK. So I omitted that one. And then I also didn't put in this really gorgeous Love Bug Yarns one because this was the only yarn with stellina. And so I thought that was going to be a bit odd in this project, so I decided not to put this one in either. Now, this is everything that's left. I'm trying not to get the shine from the window in. But there was also one little ball of the red that I used that my mum has, excuse me, because I hadn't put the buttons on and she wanted to attach them with the same colour of yarn. So I gave her the little leftover ball. But these are all the leftover yarns. And we can go through them if I find the right labels. I'm keeping all my labels that I have finished so that I can do like some quick math to be like, I've used up this amount of yarn. This is where it gets very messy. Okay, that was one, that was one, that one, and these ones. Okay, so this is the only bad thing about this box. It comes like this, and you slide it together, like you slot them in. So if you take it apart, especially because I've got stuff in it, it just goes everywhere. Okay, so the main colour of yarn I have none left of. Looking in this bag, I have absolutely none left of the main colour of yarn, which was Whiskey Barrel by My Mama Knits. This was the skein of yarn that my mum gave me to put into this project. This was the only one she definitely wanted, and I made it the centerpiece. So it was knit into the collar, knit into one half of the button band, the one that would be sitting on top, the one with the buttonholes, and then I also knit it into the both cuffs and then the waistband. At no point was it in any of the stripes. I just wouldn't have had enough yarn. So this was Whiskey Barrel from My Mama Knits, and then I also included, I'm not going to take everything out, but this one here, this was a Toil and Trouble by Giddy Yarns. Then I had Frostbite, this blue one here, which is a Stranded Dye Works. This is an old Stranded Dye Works because it's got the original, what Jude used to call the bases. So this used to be plateau, and it was just the standard 75-25 4-ply yarn. Then I had, which one is this? So this is a Queen of Pearl. So this is the ball of red I didn't have. This was a DK weight yarn. I had 2 DK weight yarns in this instead of all 4-ply held double. This was Fruit of the Dead was the colourway, but this was in the Citadel DK base, which is 100% Blueface Leicester. So I had Queen of Pearls, and again, I don't have that to show you the colour. I then had Casual Fashion Queen, which is this silver here, and this is Albus. Then I had Prairie Dye Studio. I love this skein of yarn. This was a gift from my friend Deborah, who is a Doc Firewoman or Diary of a Physicist Farm Gal here on YouTube. So Prairie Dye Studio, and that is this ball down here, which is like blues and greens and yellows, and it's really gorgeous. And then I had 3 skeins, yeah, 3 skeins of Koigu, which is Koigu Wool Designs. So I've got 3 rather somewhat very somewhat steady, what's the word I'm looking for here, stages of messy yarn labels like this one. I don't know where half of it is. So these are all the ones that are really teeny tiny, because these were only 50 grams. And then this chunky one here is Trailees. This was a sock blank, a double stranded sock blank. It is in the Chronos base. Yeah, Chronos base. And then I don't know, yep, I think this is what's left of Pixel Atlantis. I don't remember putting that much of this in, but I also am very curious to weigh this and see how much is left, see if I can make a pair of socks. So that is all the leftover yarns from my mum's cardigan. I will find a project to pop these into, but I think for some of the bigger ones I might be able to make into something else. So I really do need to locate my scales. I think they're on my work computer desk, and just see how much is in these, and then I can decide if it's enough to go into another project, like maybe a headband or something. I know I really want to make another one of the angel face. I think that's the right pattern name. I could be very, very wrong there. Angel face turban? I don't even know if I've got it on my iPad. I've got it printed like 3 times upstairs, if that makes any difference. I'm pretty sure it's the angel face turban. I have a lot of patterns saved down, and a lot of them are not loading photos. That is very helpful. We'll go with angel face turban. If I'm wrong, I will correct it down below. I want to try and get these put away so I don't lose them all. But yeah, I may not have got it finished for Christmas. But I did get it finished for my mum's birthday, which I'm really, really happy about. And she now has it. She has attached the buttons that she wanted. I didn't attach any because I wasn't sure what colour she wanted or what style of button. So I left that in her very capable hands, and she now has those buttons attached. But I think it's definitely fair to say that she won't be wearing it anytime soon because the weather is getting good here in Scotland. There we go. And my last finished object is just a pair of socks. I say just a pair of socks, but the last time I had annual leave, I was up in Glasgow with Scott. He had an appointment up in Glasgow he had to attend, and we decided to just make a bit of a day of it. And I was sat, I had taken yarn for the cast on for the cuff, and then I'd taken my main colour yarn, and I was making some socks for my friend Tracy. And I didn't want to knit just plain socks. I really, really didn't want to knit plain socks. I had it in my head I really wanted to knit cables, which is really interesting because I'm not good at cables. I can do them, but I need to really be able to sit down and focus. I can cable without a cable needle sometimes, but my issue was I was knitting on my 9-inch circular, so all my fingers are kind of like squished up. I don't even normally put my pinkies on because there's not enough space. And yeah, like I can't cable without a cable needle on my 9-inch circulars. So that was really, really interesting, but I was adamant I was not going to knit plain stockinette socks. And so I jumped onto Ravelry and I had a look, and I found a pattern that looked really, really interesting. But when I started knitting it, I didn't like the fact that the slip stitch was being hidden because you're bringing the yarn round to the front and then bringing it back. And so I was like, well, what's the point of the slip stitch if you're not going to see that detail? And so I decided to kind of like make up my own kind of design. Like, I don't know if someone's got this design out there or not already, but I certainly didn't find anything. So because this pattern had like the mention of a slip stitch, I just went with that. Like, I fixated on slip stitch, and I put this slip stitch ish pattern together that I could work on in a busy coffee shop where I didn't have headphones, I didn't have anything to like drown out the noise, but I didn't want to just knit plain stockinette. So I put this pattern together as I went along on the day, and they actually came out really, really nice. Like, I'm really, really happy with them. And so I will insert a photo of the finished socks. And they have been gifted already. They were gifted back in very early May, very start of May. And here comes Scott. And I'm back. So I just had a really quick catch up with Scott. He's away for a nap. Again, I'm pretty sure he was awake at 5. But he had a really rough night's sleep as well because he was sleeping on a sofa bed at his friend's house. I don't think he got to like sleep until like 1 AM. So poor wee soul was away for a nap. So I can't remember exactly where I finished up when I was talking about the socks, but I made a pair of socks for my friend and I gave them to her in work, and I'm not knitting as many socks at the moment because I have tons, but the tons that I have for myself, some of them are not the best fit in the world, and I really want to get better at that. And a lot of it's to do with patience. I have a UK size 9, which I think is an American 10. So I have quite big feet. and I have an extreme tendency to get bored when I am doing cuff down socks, and therefore I maybe miss like a couple of rows to get like the perfect fit. And so the socks are either very tight or after a wash or two they're far too tight. So I definitely need to go through my sock drawer and really try on the socks and be like, right, okay, let's admit defeat with these ones, they're not quite fitting good. I never wash my socks on like a high temperature. I don't own a tumble dryer either, but some of the yarns I've used have definitely caused the socks to shrink a little bit. There's one pair in particular that have never gone into a tumble dryer and never go on like a really hot wash, but the yarn has felted and it's in the cuff. Like it's literally like 5 to 8 rows of cuff and ribbing, and the yarn has completely felted, and I'm like, how did that happen? And it must just be the agitation, because, excuse me, I put all my hand knit socks in the washing machine. So I'm going to go with it's like the agitation from the washing machine that's caused these socks to felt. So I love knitting socks for other people, with a little asterisk there, that have smaller feet than me. So my friend Tracy has a size, I want to say 6. She's a size 6. And so that is, in my eyes, considerably smaller than me. And I feel like I'm on this mission to make socks that fit people perfectly. And so I took really careful notes. I was constantly measuring against my sock ruler, and when I gave them to her, I was just like, I need to ask you to be very honest with me when you try them on. If they are just a little bit too tight, I need you to tell me. Like, don't feel like you have to be dishonest, like not lie, but be dishonest, because I have spent a good portion of my time knitting these for you for free. Like at no point have I asked for any monetary exchange. And so she did. She done exactly that. She was very, very honest with me, but I seem to have got them literally spot on. So I took very, very, very clear notes. Like I've saved it on my phone, so I always have access to it. What needle size I had, what stitch count I had, because I'd done a heel flap and gusset. Once I had decreased the gusset to the correct number of stitches, how long between that last decrease round and the start of the toe, so I've got the perfect length. So that was really good. I felt really good knowing I'd got those like exact spot on, and now it means that I can knit her socks whenever I feel like knitting socks, without having to ask her and be like, hey, what size were you again? Because I've taken notes, and I don't need to be like, did I need to change anything? Were they too long? Were they too short? Were they too tight? Were they too loose? Because I was a wee bit worried. I normally knit my socks on a 2.25, which is a US 1, but because I wasn't 100% sure what needle size I had used on her last socks, which I'd knit about 3 years ago, I went with a 2.5, which felt very weird for me. I was just like, these socks are not like, the fabric's not as tight. Like I'm used to a much tighter gauge, but apparently the 2.5 worked absolutely fantastic. I have a sneeze sitting, waiting. Every time. So again, I will have hopefully put in a photo. I'll put in another one at this point of what the socks actually look like, but I'm really, really happy that they fit her perfectly and that she likes them as well, because I just picked a random colour of yarn. Like I didn't go out my way to find one that was definitely like gonna be like one of her favourite colours, because I was running out the door and I just grabbed a ball of yarn that was sitting in the living room on my little yarn stand thing. It's not actually meant to be a yarn stand, but I picked it up in TK Maxx at the Halloween season just passed. I think you're meant to put like fruit and veg on it or something, but I've acquired it for yarn. So that was always fun. Okay, so those really are my only two finished objects. I'm gonna move on to crochet because I have less crochet. Although I am gonna move my watch strap down because it's making me itchy. I've got, okay, I'm just gonna take it off, it's really annoying me. I've got one of those ones, the silicone, and it really does make me itch every now and again, so I really need to look to getting a fabric one, or at least something way more breathable. Okie dokie. I know I said I might do this over a couple of days, but I might just get it done today and then get it up on YouTube, because I then have to remember to record on the other days. And at the moment I don't have much in the way of plans this week apart from Tuesday where I'm going down to see my parents. So yeah, I think I'll just continue on and get this up on YouTube today or tomorrow. I do have to go out in about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I've got to go get my next vaccine, the COVID vaccine. I am classed as high risk. I have Crohn's disease. I am on immunosuppressants. So I do still get the vaccines every now and again. So this is the summer vaccine, I'm assuming. And then I'll probably get one at winter, I think. No idea. I literally have no idea what's going on with the vaccines anymore. So yeah, I have at least 2 hours to record. Shouldn't take me that long. I really hope not. But yeah, I think we'll cover crochet because I have way less crochet than I do any of the other crafts. And I guess we will start with the one that has really had my attention. So winter time, maybe a little earlier. So maybe August. No, not August. That's, I don't know. Like I say, I have no sense of time. Like I genuinely have no sense of time and how long has passed since something happened or I was gifted something. But my mum knit 2 sweaters. One was for herself and one was for me. And then she very kindly gifted me the leftover yarn. And I've had this yarn kicking around now for months. And I never put it into my stash for some reason. I always kept it separate and I don't know why. And I finally decided that I was gonna use it. I was gonna use it up, and I was heading out to my craft night. So I started a craft group in my area and we meet every now and again. And none of my projects, like I didn't want to work on any of the projects I had. I really just wanted to start something brand new, and I decided, you know what, screw it. I'm going to start a crochet garment for myself. I've already crocheted 2 very, very similar. I crocheted one in 4-ply yarn 2 summers ago, and that was crocheted using a advent calendar that I had from like 5 winters ago, and that turned out awesome. But for some reason the very, very, very last round I didn't have enough yarn, so I think that mini skein was less than the 10 grams that all my other ones were. But having crocheted that one, there were things I wanted to change. I ran out of yarn, so it was cropped. I had very short sleeves, literally where I split for the body was where the sleeves stopped. And so my second rendition of this I done in, I would say King Cole, and it was in DK, so a size up from the 4-ply one. And I done full length body, I done a collar, I done a waistband, I done big beautiful sleeves that turned out to be quite like a balloon sleeve that then really pulled in for the wrist. And I made it in this really gorgeous red yarn with nips, and I love that one. Really, really, really love that one. And I decided I wanted one similar, but I didn't want the balloon sleeves. And so the yarn that my mum gave me from the leftovers was this Cartupu. I might be saying that wrong. And they class this as elite wool. It is 51% acrylic and 49% wool. It is 220 meters per 100 grams, and I'm saying it's between a DK and an Aran weight. They say it's for knitting needles 5 to 6, so I think that's actually Aran, because I think DK is a size 4, like a 4mm. So yeah, this is the yarn that I'm using, and I have it in 3 different colours, and this is what I have so far. So yeah, it's rolled up at the sides. So I've got it in this gorgeous brown, beige and white, and I'm just doing that repeat the whole way, and I think I've got the body to where I want it, so I've kind of put that on hold for now. I did go in and put 1 round of single crochet just round the bottom. I'm putting it on hold, I haven't finished it because I don't know how much yarn I'm going to have left over. I have more of the beige and the white than I do of the brown, and I really want to get the sleeves finished before I decide what's happening with the rest of the body. So I've started doing my decreases. I don't know if you can see that, the bottom tapering up a little bit. And so far this sleeve is about here on me, so that's the fold of my elbow, and it's about here. So it's just past my elbow, and this sleeve's going to go on hold, and then I'm going to get this one to the exact same point, and then I'm going to see how much of the brown I have, because I really, really love to get this into full sleeves. That is the hope, but there could be some serious yarn chicken being played in this project. But I know for a fact I'm going to have quite a bit of the beige and the white left over. And so from there, I will then decide if I want to put a knitted neckband in, or just crochet some form of a neckband. And then the same for the waistband and the cuffs. So at the moment I just want to get the sleeves to a good place and see how long I can make them. Like, I don't mind them sitting about here, but I would like them to go down to my wrist. But I will deal with what I have, basically. I have a small amount of yarn. It's actually at the other side of the room, and it decreases very quickly because crochet uses more. I'm going to turn this inside out. I haven't woven in a single end, so I'm cutting the yarn after every row, and you can see my line of ends. And then I've got them on the sleeve as well. So So this is going to be a fun project to deal with after the fact. I have tied them all with a double knot, so at least it shouldn't come unravelled. But yeah, 2 ends for every single round. It could be like a statement piece if I turned it inside out and just be like, look at the fringe. Not a bad idea. I'm not going to do that. So yeah, that's really taking my heart at the moment. It's just something I cast on. I looked at my notes for the 4-ply version because I didn't take notes with my DK version, but I had notes for my 4-ply version, and I just chained enough so that I didn't feel it was too close to my neck. I don't like things being up around my neck too tight. And this certainly, I wouldn't say this is tight, but it's nice, if that makes sense. Turn it back outside. So this is it when it's on. So it does sit quite wide, which some people might not like, but it covers all the straps and it's not too tight. But I quite like the square collar, and I feel like if I tried to do any sort of banding up here, it would take away from this square collar. So I might just leave that as is, because that actually starts with a round of foundation single crochet, and then it goes into the double crochet granny striping. So I actually quite like that neckline, and I think I'm going to leave that as is, but I'm certainly not really sure how I'm going to finish the sleeves and the waistband. And I'm also kind of curious if I should have gone back and done more like quicker decreases. Like I've done a row of plain double crochets in this, and it is a little bit baggy, so I'm on the fence as to whether I want to go back and decrease that quicker. But I could always just decrease it quicker on this part and have just a wee bit of room here for the likes of sleeves if I wear a t-shirt underneath this instead of a strappy top. So hindsight and everything else is great, and I certainly will be taking notes on this one for more renditions going forward. I could pause this and take this off and not look so silly online, but hey ho. So yeah, just my really awesome, cozy crochet jumper. I might work on this today actually, so I'm going to throw that on the other sofa. My other crochet project is living in this very big shopping bag, and you might remember me saying that I was doing a test crochet for Heather of HGDC, which is HG Designs Crochet, and I am doing the test crochet for the Revival cardigan, no, not cardigan, jumper. It's on hold at the moment, and I'm glad it's on hold because I have some decisions to make regarding the sizing. So Heather is really great in the fact that she doesn't mind what size we actually end up testing, because a lot of people, myself included, forgot which size we put on the form to sign up to be testers. And I'll talk through why I'm on the fence. So I think the last time people saw this project, it was in a state of tons of granny squares. Now I've done the front panel or back panel, and I've done the continuous join as you go method, and I've put them together. Well, I've put one together. And my issue is, let's see, let's make this look more interesting. There we go. My issue is, if I continue with this panel the size it is, and then I make the project to how the pattern states, I'm going to have in the region of 7 to 8 inches of positive ease. Now I'm already I'm a big person. I am in the plus size range. I have a very voluptuous stomach, and I don't like things being too tight and showing off the wrong curves. In my opinion, any front facing curves for me, not very good. Side facing curves, but yeah, so I have an issue at the moment where I'm trying to decide whether or not I actually need to undo this entire panel. So this was my first square, this is where I started, and I joined this way and then down and along and then down and along. And oh no, I don't think I did. I think I went along and then you do a row of black and then you go and then you join this row. So you're always joining in this direction. And basically, as you can see, this is actually wide enough for my shoulders, and my shoulders are wider than my stomach. But my stomach's rounder than my shoulders, if that makes sense. So this does currently go round to under my arms, like this would meet in the middle if I just done another panel. But as it actually stands, there's going to be like a middle panel down the side. So with the middle panel down the side, I literally could take out this whole column here, and I would get rid of quite a bit of that positive ease. Or I could just leave it as is, because again, for me to take out that extra panel, I have to actually rip all this back up to here, to this green one. So I would literally have this top row to here, just to get this last panel out. So this is why I haven't woven the ends in on this, because I'm still trying to decide what to do. Do I make the jumper the size that I am doing, which I'm pretty sure is the 6 or 7. I think it's the 7. Excuse me. Because the reason why I'm on the fence is because I actually do quite like things baggy and with lots of room. I have a hoodie that is huge on me, like really, really big. But because I don't pull it down, but the waistband is elasticated and I tuck it under my butt so that it covers my butt. And I can wear it out very comfortably, and it will still be baggy around the stomach. Like, it's not tight, it's not clingy, and it's nice. I like it, and I feel like this could be similar to that, but I also feel like it's going to be too baggy, and that's where my issue is. Excuse me. If I'm being honest, I think I'm going to rip it back, because I just feel like if I go with the size I have it just now, it's going to be too big and I will not wear it. So that is a wee tale of woe, but it still looks awesome. Like, look at all that colour. So the main colour is going to be the black. The granny squares are the pop of colour, and I went with primary colours and bright colours, and I just think it's going to look absolutely awesome when it's done. And you can do it cropped and you can make it longer as well. You just need to add more rows of the granny squares, and that's exactly what I've done. The pattern really only has like 3 rows, which is, I don't mind a cropped garment, but I also want one a little bit longer sometimes. And so I have added the extra rows for mine. I am knitting, my god. I am crocheting this out of all paint box yarns. This is my first time ever using this yarn and I don't dislike it. It's really interesting. And I think I spoke about this on a previous one. The difference in softness just between like this yellow one and any other colour. So this green is really soft and this yellow not as soft, and this is the only one that is not as soft, which I find really bizarre because I have quite a few colours. Like I have the orange, the blue, the green, the purple, the red, the yellow. That me? Pink. I've got pink as well. Yeah. I have a lot of colours in this, and the yellow is the only one that is not super, super soft. I'm going to stop the camera and restart it for the knitting section. So for you it'll just be a split second, and for me I'm probably going to grab another drink. Okay, on to the knitting. I have a couple of things to show off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that it? 6 things. Yeah, I only have 6 things. So the first one, I don't know if it's had much progress since the last time you saw it, and that is purely because it was out of sight, out of mind. I really need things to be like front and centre for me to go, oh, look at that, that's pretty, I'm going to work on it. If I put things away and they're not on my mind, so I tuck the crochet jumper away, so because it's quite chunky, it's quite a big project, but it's front and centre in my mind. I'm like, oh, I really want to work on that, really want to work on that. But if I tuck small things away, then I forget about them. And that is exactly what has happened on this occasion. So this is the Little Mugs Socks by Cara Apples, and this is one of my IVKN friends, and this is her, was it her first pattern or her second pattern? Oh, I don't know. Sorry. I think it might be her first pattern. And the reason I'm stalling on this is not the pattern's fault. It's purely because I'm past the colour work. I can really get lost in colour work. Like I can zoom through it because I'm just like, oh my god, next row, next row, next row. And then I get on to the plain old boring stockinette and then I'm like, eh. And another reason I think I'm stalling is the yarn. So I don't have the ball band anymore, but this is a very fuzzy, splitty yarn. Like, I don't know how much you can see the halo on that yarn. If I put it over my hair, you might be able to see it a wee bit. But this is an extremely fuzzy yarn, and as you can see, it's quite squiggly as well because I've knit it and then I've frogged it, and then I've knit it, and then I've frogged it. So this is the third project that I've attempted this yarn for. And it is meant for a sock yarn. I want to say it's like one of the Rico yarns, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But you can see all my squiggly yarn at the top here against all the yarn that has not been touched. And I think I'm actually pulling from the centre so that I don't use the squiggly yarn. So yeah, this is the Little Mugs Socks, and do you know what the worst thing is? I think I'm super close to actually being near the toe, and just because it was out of sight, out of mind, and the yarn, I think that's the only reason I've just not picked it up, because I knit a pair of socks for my friend within like a week. Well after I started these, I have another pair of socks on the go that I started after the pair from my friend that are going to be for my mum. So it's not like I've gone off socks. I just didn't want to work on this one because the colour work's finished. So yeah. I will hopefully pick it up now because it's back in my mind, and also I'm super close to having at least a half finished object. But I also feel like if I finish one sock, I'm not going to rush to cast on the second one. So this might be a whip for a little bit longer. We'll see. I have some other things I really want to work on and get finished and clear some of my needles, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. It certainly would be a quick finish and a small finish at that, and then I would definitely fly through the colour work again. I'm just on the fence at the moment because I also know I have a lot of obligation crafting for the wedding that I just can't bring myself to do. Okay, since we were talking about socks, I have a half finished object. So these are the socks for my mum. This is yarn from Walbut, which is a German brand, and I picked up a ton of this yarn when I was down in Blackpool with my mum several years ago, and the shop that I bought this from is no longer, which is a shame, and I got a ton of this yarn for like $1.50 a ball, and it is really, it's the same feel and composition? I don't know if that's the right word. Makeup of like opal and regia, and so it's good sock yarn. These are for my mum. This is using a variation of the slip stitch pattern that I made my friend's sock in, and I did plan on writing this up, maybe put it in my blog for free, because I just don't know if this pattern's already out there, and I'm not going to scour scour Ravelry to find out, because I made this up in my head as I went along. But this is like a close-up of the pattern. So this is a slightly different variation from the one I made my friend, and I'm thinking of doing an even, like a more different variation again. So I think I'm going to have like 3 variations of this stitch pattern, because I really like it. It's something a little bit different. It's not plain stockinette, but it's still so simple that I can have a conversation with somebody. I can watch something. Like, I was knitting on this in a meeting in my work. I told them, like, me and Jonathan were like, because I said, can I knit on this meeting? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then Jonathan was like, well, I'm going to craft as well, which is great because no one else crafts when we're in meetings, so I always feel like I'm alone on that front. I think this was the socks I was knitting on that meeting. I've definitely knit on these in a meeting. So it's a stitch pattern that I can do in a huge array of situations and still feel like I can maintain a conversation, keep up with a conversation, and more importantly, keep up on like YouTube and podcasts and audiobooks. So yeah, I actually really like this yarn, and I have unintentionally almost, like, I think I'm a row or 2 out of having matching socks, and the way I can tell is the heel. So if you look on this heel, these are my decreases here for the underfoot bit, whereas these are my decreases here, and there is more white rounds before the decrease on the second sock than there is on the first sock. That's the only way you can tell, because they look darn identical. So I'm really pleased with that. I didn't even try that. I have not taken any yarn away from this ball to try and get matching socks. This is just lined up all on its own. So these are for my mammy. I have done, so I'm on a 2.5mm needle. Again, that's different from my normal 2.25. I like quite a tight gauge for my socks, whereas I don't know if other people appreciate that tightness. So I normally go up a needle size when I'm doing other people's socks. I've done 68 stitches. I done 15 rows of 2x2 ribbing, and then I went into the pattern. I've done 12 repeats of that pattern, and then I've gone into my heel flap and gusset, just a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, that continuation of that slip stitch. And then I've just done stockinette and a weird rounded-ish box toe. I don't know what I've done. But I was using a sock ruler again, and basically I started with my normal rounds of decreases. So I would do a decrease round, a plain round, a decrease round, a plain round. And then I've done 5 rounds of rapid decreasing, because according to my sock ruler I really had to finish the sock, otherwise it was going to be too big. So yeah, it's a weird rounded box toe. So don't know, it looks weird, it looks short, doesn't it? Like, because of where the change in colour is, it looks quite short. But as long as they fit, that's all that matters. No one really sees the toe anyway. And I am on the decreases. I have dropped a stitch. Let's pick that up. This is the only bad thing about doing it on wee 9-inch circulars. There's really not many places for all the stitches to go. So yeah. This has been my car knitting, because I don't have my car currently, and so I'm the passenger quite often, so I take this. I'll probably take this with me today when I go get my vaccine, because it's either going to be absolutely mobbed or there's going to be hardly anyone there. So I'll take this in a wee bag that I can put over my arm, and I can stand in the queue and knit. Okay, which one next? I was like, I thought I had more, and then I realised I've covered a project up. Let's go with this one. So this is my Rauli shawl. This is my 2-colour Brioche Shawl, and this is a design by Rauli by Marie Amélie Designs. This was free on Ravelry when I got it. I don't know if it still is, but I do link the project page or the pattern page down below, so please feel free to have a wee nosy if it takes your fancy. And I think when I spoke about this last, I said I have 1 repeat to go before the decreases. That was a lie in that podcast. But it's true in this one. So I done a repeat after I last showed you this. That's where the yellow is. And I've done that whole repeat there. And then I looked at the pattern and I counted up all my stitches, and I was like, I think I get to start the decreases. No. I have 1 more repeat to go. Then I get to start the decreases. So that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It's just a project I don't get to work on that often now that it's got quite a few stitches. I don't want to pull the stitches out further onto the needle because I risk dropping stitches, but you need to kind of stretch it out a wee bit to see the full design. Like it's a bit bunched up on this needle, but I also don't mind the fact there's another repeat, because I just don't think it's almost long enough. Like, that's my full length of my arm to like my to the middle of my body, and there is some drape in it, but it also just, I don't feel like it's long enough yet. So I'm more than happy to need to do another repeat before I get to start the decreases, which should then make this quite a quick project, I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Because I just want to start clearing my needles, getting things off and done so that I can start new things. But I really love this. I'm still very happy with my yarn choice. So the gold is from Sheeps, and then the tonal green on the reverse is from Queen of Pearls, who is no longer dyeing. But I just feel like this works really well together. So yeah. This is my, believe it or not, this is my second full brioche project. I think I've had a couple, 2, maybe 3. Oh no, that's a lie. I done a brioche jumper in super bulky yarn. So this is my third full brioche project, and it's definitely one where I feel a lot more confident with the increases and the decreases. So you can see like this center column here of increases, and then you can see the decreases going up this swoop here. So it's definitely been a great project in that it's made me a lot more comfortable with brioche. But that being said, I always have to jump on YouTube just to check how I do my decreases. One, because I don't pick this up very often. I have to be in situations where I have no company. I'm not watching anything that I'm really desperate to watch. Scott can't talk to me if he's in the same room. I need to be in complete silence. I can have some music on the background, but nothing I'm gonna be like really, really get into and like want to sing along to, because I have to really concentrate when I'm on this project. Now, that being said, please don't take any of that as criticism for the pattern or the design or anything like that, or just brioche in general. If you want to try brioche, don't let anyone put you off, because once you know what you're doing, it's great fun. It's really great fun, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I just need to remind myself again how to do the decreases. And that's a me thing. That's purely a memory thing for me. So yeah, this is slow going, but I do like it. I do enjoy it. I just can't wait for it to be done, and then I can wait it. Okay, next project. Let's try and zip that back up actually, so it doesn't fall out. I just don't want to catch any of the yarns in the zips. I've done that in the past. That was not nice. Let's talk about this one. This one is kind of in the back burner until I get new needles, because I'm having a sensory issue with this project. And it's happened twice now, and it's happened at the weirdest times. So, this is my Hooded Shawl cardigan by Susanne Sommers. And this is a gorgeous pattern. I have some really gorgeous yarns in here as well. 2 of them are by my friends, and I love them both dearly, even if I don't get to talk to them very often. So in between the purple here is this yarn, which is Unicorn Mane by Lovebug Yarns, and that is Diana. And I truly love this yarn. I love all of Diana's yarns, to be honest. I wish I had way more in my stash. I have some in my stash. I have 2 sweaters quantities, and one is Stellina Black, or black with Stellina, and then I think the other one's purple with Stellina, and they will definitely be really gorgeous sweaters. So that's in between here with the solid purple. and then this one is Squid Ink by Fiberpunk, and then the solid purple, which is also up the top, is from Woolly Knits. This is from a really big cone. I think it's like a 1 kilogram cone or something, and this is Aubergine. I could be wrong on that colourway name. So my issue is the needles. I was working on this, and I was like 2 hours into working on this, so maybe it was the heat that's caused this, and because these are metal needles. I was like 2 hours into working on this project because I've got to a point where I've changed the pattern ever so slightly because I'm sick of purling on this. So I've changed the bottom to be knit on every row, so it is garter instead of reversed stockinette. And it just meant I could sit and knit and knit and knit and knit. Sorry, I was really close to the camera there. And again, I think it was the heat that maybe caused this issue, but I don't want it to happen again. But I don't know how to explain it either. I tried to explain it to someone at my craft night, and she kind of looked at me like I was crazy. There's definitely a sensory issue when I'm using these needles, and they've heat up a bit. I don't know how you say that. And actually sometimes it happens when the needles are cold as well, and it's when they hit each other at the wrong way and they kind of like grind against each other or grate against each other, and it just sends shivers down my entire being from my brain to my toes, and I cannot stand it. And so this has been put on hold kind of indefinitely, because I also really just got sick of this project, to be honest. It's been on the go for quite some time, and I just want it finished. To be fair, I think I'm nearly there. Like, this bottom band is the last, and then I just do the sleeves, which shouldn't take too long, and then I do the hood, which also shouldn't take too long compared to the body. So yeah, I was working on this quite happily, like I say, and then the needles just hit each other at the wrong angle, and I was like, no, can't, put it down, put it away. And then I took it to my craft night, and again, I think I got like halfway through the first row of picking it up that night, and it happened again, and I was just so thankful that I'd taken another project with me. So I just folded that straight back into the bag. I was like, nope, not happening. So it seems like I just can't use the Knit Pro Zings anymore, which is a shame because I think I have quite a couple. I have a couple of these. I definitely have a full DPN pack of the Knit Pro Zings. So yeah, that's not ideal. Okay, 2 more to go. I have been making slow and steady progress on my Dustland sweater by Stephen West. Please know I interchange sweater and jumper all the time. I know that there's a big difference in the States, but here in Scotland it is what it is. It's the same thing. A sweater and a cardigan, again, not really a cardigan, it's just a slip of the tongue at my point. A sweater and a jumper are interchangeable here. Some people will note that there's a difference. Some people don't give a crap. I am of that second part where I don't give a crap. To me, they're interchangeable. So this is the Dustland sweater, and it is looking amazing. Please note it's bunching up here because this is broken rib, whereas when you pull it taut, it doesn't bunch up like what it does when it is not pulled taut. I love this project. I just don't always have the energy. I was just checking the needles there because these are my chalgoos. Yeah, it's not doing the thing, the grating thing. I love this project, I really, really do. It's just not always the most convenient. It's now quite big, but I have a plan. I have what I think is a very good plan. So first of all, let's talk about the wool. This is Lamia Premier hand knitting yarn, just wool, and it is 100% recycled wool. And it comes in these really small, cute 50-gram balls of yarn. And I have a full pack of this, like full 10 or 12 balls of yarn. I think it must be 10. 12 doesn't sound right. And here's my plan. At the moment, I would say that this is sitting at about your waistband, like where you would normally wear trousers or a skirt or whatever. And I have this much left of this ball of yarn. Not this much left of the yarn, just this much left of this ball. So my plan is knit this ball into the project and then leave the body as it is with the needles on, and then move to small 9-inch circulars for the sleeves, knit the sleeves completely, and then go back and see just how much yarn I have left for the body. I've done the math, I've checked the sizes, I should have way more than enough yarn to do what I'm thinking, which is to knit full length sleeves to come to about here, so my finger knuckles, not my hand knuckles, my finger knuckles. I want to put in a thumb hole because I am still regressing backwards into my teen years and my emo gothic years. So I want a thumb hole, and I want to have long sleeves. And then whatever yarn I have left will then dictate just how long the body is going to be. I don't want a super long cardigan, but I certainly don't want anything cropped. So at the moment, like I say, it's at waistband level, and that is without ribbing. And this will allow me to decide whether I'm going to have it at, like, say, just above the bum, below the bum. Am I going to decide to put in a split hem? Am I going to make the back longer than the front? That kind of thing. Like those little last minute decisions that I can do. So I'm going to knit this ball into the project. I think I'm on moss stitch. Not the funnest stitch in the world. I think it's double moss stitch, because you do the same stitches for 2 rounds and then you swap it for 2 rounds. So I think that's double moss stitch. And then, like I say, the body will go on hold. I'll jump back to the sleeves. I will knit the sleeves, and then whatever yarn is left dictates how much longer I will knit this sweater. But can we zoom in on this? Look at the texture. Look at that texture. Is that not stunning? So this is the moss stitch, broken rib, diagonal rib. Oh, it's just so yummy. So yeah, I really love it. It's just quite, like I say, it's quite a big project. Because this is DK weight yarn, so it's very squishy. It's very, I wouldn't say it's heavy yet, but it could definitely get to that point. And so it's not the most portable. Like, I would not take this and work on this in the car unless I was going on a really long car journey, like maybe up to like Glencoe, or if for some reason I was going down to England. So it's not the smallest, most portable thing in the world. So it's really only worked on in the house, and I have taken it to crochet night. That's interesting because yesterday I kept calling it knit night, to craft night. So we will see. I also love the bag. This is from J.B. Rousseau's. Okay. I've got 59 seconds left on this section of the camera, so I'm gonna stop it and restart, and we'll go into my last project, some acquisitions, not much, and then just what I've been up to, where I've been, and what has been going on. And we're back. Oh, sorry, I've just found the yarn band for, oh, it was this one. There we go. Okay, so my last project you have not seen. I have cast this on since my last podcast. Same as like my crochet jumper. This is another cardigan, because apparently I have not learned the lesson when it comes to cardigans. But to be fair, there's not as much purling as you would think in this project. This is a pattern by Ozetta, and this is the Seasons cardigan. Let's see if I can. How do I make that little panel go away? I don't want it there. Can I not make that go away? Whoops. I didn't mean to close it. Oh well. This is the Seasons cardigan, and it's by Ozetta, and I came across this pattern when I was watching the Legacy Fiber Arts, Legacy Knits podcast, and Chelsea was showing her finished one off, and I was just like, sorry, I just kicked the table and you all just wobbled. And she was wearing her finished Ozetta cardigan, and it was beautiful. Not my colour, it was like a dusty pink, but I decided I had to knit that, and so I've cast on. The only thing about this project is it feels like a slog, and that is nothing to the designer or the pattern. It's just I'm at that stage where I have so many increases to do, and one of them, like, you've got two different rounds of increases. You've got increases only for the arms and the body, but then you've got an increase literally right here on the body with all the other increases. So it's trying to remember what round you're on, how many increases you've done. Are you increasing at the very, very front, or are you not increasing at the very, very front? And it is also my first ever project with half fisherman's rib, or any form of fisherman's rib. I've never done fisherman's rib before. So fisherman's rib is kind of like brioche, but it's not brioche, which is really cool. And I think that's how you get away with not that much purling, because on the reverse side you knit back, you don't purl back, you knit back. And it's also a very interesting construction. So you start here, literally just these two fingers, and you knit one way for so many rounds, then you pick up and you knit the opposite way for so many rounds, and then you pick up the side of the button band and you knit down. So you're knitting the button band whilst you knit the cardigan, hence why I have two wooden needles, two wooden DPNs, and then I have my actual metal knitting needles. That's the needles I was sitting like that, trying to see if it had the sensory thing that the other metal ones did, and thank God they don't. So you can see I've got quite a few stitch markers as well to help point out where my increases should be for the sleeves and the body, and then I don't need them for knowing where to increase in the front, because that's where my change in needles goes. And then I have a DPN sticking out of my ball of yarn so that I know to change needle when I get to the button band. So all in all, I actually am really enjoying this project, but what I found really interesting was back in April my sister came to stay, and she was wearing a cardigan that looked very familiar, and I was just like, that looks exactly like my Ozetta cardigan that I'm working on, the Seasons cardigan. And I looked really closely at it and I was just like, oh my god, Primark have literally just duplicated this person's design. Or, and I'm not saying this is for definite, this person saw this design in Primark and went and made it, but I think it's the other way around. I think Primark have just copied this designer's pattern and then mass produced this cardigan, because it was identical. The button band, the fact it was half fisherman's rib, because you can tell the difference between the half fisherman's rib side and then the reverse side, because I looked at the inside of her cardigan and I was just like, that is identical. So that's the first time I've really seen that out in the wild, where a company has then gone and taken someone's design and then mass produced it for like really cheap, nasty mass production. Which is a shame, because it's a really, really gorgeous pattern. Oh, I need to stretch my leg out. I've got a dead knee. But yeah, I am working on this with a big 400-gram ball of iron yarn from Aldi, which is one of our supermarkets here. Pretty sure you can get Aldi other places, but I don't know that for certain. This is a 400-gram ball, which is approximately 800 meters, 75% acrylic, 25% wool, and this is in the elephant colorway. So this is quite a blue-grey, or a greyish blue, however you want to word it. And I think it's a really gorgeous colour, and I think it's going to go with a lot of like my clothes. It might dull down some of my dresses though, but I'm okay with that. I'm still going through my gothic phase. So that's absolutely fine with me that it is in this colour. And it's so squishy, it's so bouncy, and it's just going to be really lovely. I recently put it on to, I don't have it beside me, I recently put it on to like an extender, so not another cable, it's like those silicone tubes that you stick on the needle and then you move your stitches around. And I've checked to see like where it meets under my arm. I'm not quite there yet. I need to go through some more increases, and I'm thinking I might just go with the full increases that I have for my size, because I feel like part of me just wanted to get like to get onto the body or work the sleeves or something and stop doing all these increases, but it's not quite going to fit me yet, so I'm not going to cut it short. And I think the pattern is meant to be oversized, and again we go back to the crochet test that I'm doing, and I'm kind of on that fence about sizing at the moment, and that also spans to the fact that I am actively trying to lose a little bit of weight, and so I'm finding it very difficult to feel comfortable with what size I should be making right now. But this is meant to be an oversized cardigan. Chelsea from the Legacy Knits podcast, or Legacy Fibre Arts, I think that's the yarn brand, so it's Legacy Knits podcast, hers is very oversized for her petite frame, and it looks really great on her. And so I'm thinking I'm just going to do the full increases that I'm meant to do for the size I have picked, and therefore I will be able to wrap it around me, especially come winter time, and it will just be one of those chuck on layering pieces and I will be nice and cozy. So that is my next cardigan. I have a lot of garments on the go and I want to make more, but I need to get ones finished. So I've got the crochet jumper, Dustland, the Seasons cardigan, the hooded shawl cardigan, and the crochet test jumper. So I've got 5 garments on the go. I want to cast on another Mount Pleasant tee. I don't know what yarn. I'm either going to do it in this crazy amazing neon yarn that I got from Marcus of Fiberpunk, or maybe not as crazy in neon. I'm on the fence. Like, I bought that yarn picturing a Mount Pleasant tee, and I might follow through with that, but it would be like crazy neon. Okay, so I have a teeny tiny amount of acquisitions that my mum got me. She was putting in an order for yarn and she asked if I wanted any because it's all sock yarn, and I don't even remember what website this was, but my mum got me the following yarns. So this one's DK, this one right here at the end, this is DK, and the rest are 4-ply. This one has sparkle, and this last one here is bamboo. So these two in particular feel like your normal Opal, Regia, West Yorkshire spinners, like that 75-25 wool nylon build makeup. And then this one does, but you can feel the sparkle in it. And it has no details on the ball band, like none at all. So you can feel the sparkle in this, so I don't know how that's going to be, like if you've got really really sensitive feet, that's probably not going to feel very great. And then this one here, this actually does have information on it, but it is not in English. So this is Prolana, and it's bamboo socks, 63% polyacryl. I don't know what that is. 30% viscose and 7% polyester. I'm assuming polyacryl is another name for bamboo. I'm guessing. Yeah. It seems very curly. Like, this bamboo yarn seems like it's going to be quite curly. Like, there's like a lot of twist in it, and it's also stretchy. Like, so that's me holding it as it comes out, and then whee! That's a lot of stretch. So I don't know. I don't know if socks is going to be good because I hold my yarn very tight. I am a very very tight knitter, so I'm going to pull all that stretch out. So I might need to make something else with that, or just learn to hold my yarn a lot looser, which is going to be really difficult for me. So yeah, that is the only acquisitions I've bought. I haven't bought any yarn. I have been really showing some self-restraint. I'm trying to actually use yarn that I have. Also because we're still saving up for the wedding. And yeah, I haven't been to any festivals. I haven't bought anything online. I am considering going to the what was the Perth Festival of Yarn. They have had a name change. I just want to check online so I don't say it wrong. I think it's like the Scottish Yarn Festival. Yeah, the Scottish Yarn Festival. So that was formerly Perth Festival of Yarn. It's now the Scottish Yarn Festival. So that's on the 9th of 10th of September. And I am seriously considering going along for that. I know I'd originally said I wasn't going to, but we should have paid off the wedding by then, and I should have a little bit of surplus to treat myself. And it would be nice to go and be around like-minded people and see some of my friends that I never saw at the one in March, because funds were a lot tighter back then. We were on single vision, like tunnel vision, wedding. So it'd be really nice to go through for the event, but I am on the fence about it because I need to see where we are with the money for the wedding. But yeah, where have I been for the last 7 to 8 weeks, and why have I been quiet on social media? I've been quiet on social media because it can be very overwhelming. I've also not felt the need to post, if I'm being completely honest. My last post was the socks, and just after I got my tattoo, and then some stuff has happened. I got sick, my Crohn's flared up a little bit, ironically because of an issue with my Crohn's, or related to my Crohn's. So I made myself ill because of something related to my Crohn's. So that's always fun when that happens. I then got stressed about something to do with the wedding and made myself sick again. It really sucks having a stress-induced illness. I can hear someone's phone going off. Then what? So I was away, also I got my tattoo done. I've been planning my friend's hen party. That's been fun and interesting. I hope some of the things I've got for that... No, I moved them, that's fine. I just wondered, I feared that something was in the background that shouldn't have been there. Where else have I been? What have I been up to? I've been having some board game days down at one of my best friend's house. That has been so fun. I was down for my birthday. My birthday was at the end of April. And there may or may not be a clip at the end of this of people singing me happy birthday. But yeah, we've been having some board game days down at one of my best friend's house, and so that allows me to see my goddaughters, which is lovely. But I don't think we're going to have one now until July, because she gets married in June, and then like everything is happening in June. So no, she doesn't get married in June, she gets married in July. And so I don't think we're going to have another board game day until the very end of July, or actually the start of August, so it's going to be a while now. Scott and I went aurora hunting, as in the aurora borealis or the northern lights, depending on how you know it. That was really cool. Thankfully we were both off work, otherwise we would have been absolutely shattered the next day. So that was at Loch Lomond. That's my second time seeing the aurora. So we got there after it peaked, and so you could kind of see it with the naked eye, but you saw it much better through the camera. So if I haven't even actually looked at the photos from it on my laptop, so if I get that and it's a good photo, I'll put it up at the end of the video as well. But yeah, it's been busy a couple of weeks. I've just not felt in a place to record. I feel like if I was going to record, it would be very flat, very straight to the point and be done with. But I feel like I am in a better place. I feel a little bit more upbeat. I'm not nearly as sick, which is great. Although I might be in pain tomorrow with the vaccine. You know how you always get like a wee bit of pain from a vaccine site. But I'm hoping this week, because I'm off, to get out and do some spinning outside. Although I will need to lather myself in sun lotion. I burn so easily. Like, I have such fair skin, and because I am naturally ginger, I know I don't look it, but I promise I am naturally ginger. That I could be out in the sun for like 10 minutes and I will be a lobster, and it's not fun. So I literally have to lather myself up in like factor 50. But I'm hoping to get outside with my spinning wheel and spin up some yarn. That's really what my body's asking to do right now, is just to sit and spin. But I need to sit down and start the crochet work for the wedding. I need to continue crocheting the stuff for the wedding. I've got like pieces, different points in the room that have different stages of completion. So that's something I need to work on this week. But I really just want to get things off the needles, get things completely finished and off the hooks. But yeah. Don't know what else to say. I don't have a good memory to remind myself of what I've been up to and what's been going on. I have no sense of time to know exactly how long it was since my last podcast. I'm pretty sure it's close to 8 weeks, which has probably been the longest period of absence this year. But yeah, Scott's got another hour of dozing, hour and 15 minutes, and then I have to go wake him up. I don't have my car currently, so he has to take me to my appointment today. But yeah, I really hope you are all staying safe, staying well, having fun, having lots of crafting time. If you want to leave a comment down below, let me know what you've been working on. Is there a project you would recommend? I am always looking for new projects. There's like an itching in the back of my head being like, make a shawl. You've not made a shawl for a while. Oh yeah, there was one thing I wanted to add in the end, but it sounds kind of bitchy. But it's, I'm trying to set boundaries for myself, and that does kind of affect other people. I recently had to correct someone on how they were labelling me. They were constantly putting me into the bracket of saying ladies when they were talking about me and other people. And I understand that that's easy and it's just common and it's second nature and all of those other excuses. But I had to ask someone to respect the fact that my pronouns are they, them, and that I identify as non-binary. And that it felt like serious confrontation to me, and I don't deal well with confrontation of any sort. And so I decided that it needed to be done though. I had to set that boundary and respect myself, and if they don't respect that, that says way more about them, because I have set that boundary, I have set that self-respect. And it could have gone one of 3 ways in my opinion. They could have been like, oh my god, I am so sorry, I didn't realise, or I completely forgot, it won't happen again, I will work on it. Or they could be completely I want to say nonchalant, I don't know if that's the right word. They could have been completely whatever about it. They'd have been like, cool, moving on. Or, and this is the one I do worry about, they could have been like, there's only 2 genders, you're only male or female. And so that's why I haven't had that boundary, like I haven't enforced that boundary with people. And I'm doing it now because, again, it's a show of self-respect. Like, I'm setting that boundary for me. If I don't set that boundary, then there's no guarantee that other people will meet it or respect it. And it felt like a big thing for me to have to set that boundary and to have that self-respect for myself. And I think it went okay. Unfortunately, this was in the work environment, and I think it went okay. I really thought it was going to go to the last option there, where they were just like, there's only two sexes, blah blah blah. But no, I think it went okay, and thankfully someone else kind of stood up for me and went to that person themselves and then told me that they had done it. And so maybe the reply I got, which did come across a little standoffish, was because two people had approached them about the issue. So yeah, I do ask that other people respect my my pronouns and how I identify, and I appreciate the people that continue to try to do that. I do understand it's so easy to slip up and say she or her or something along those lines. I have occasionally done it. I always still say, like, I'm going to put my big girl panties on and do this thing I don't want to do or that I'm scared of. So I get it, it's really easily done, but please respect the fact that that is how I identify. So yeah. But yeah. You can find me on Instagram. I did start posting again today for the first time in a couple of weeks as well. And I can't guarantee I'm going to post a lot, because for me it takes a lot of mental energy to be posting and constantly on social media. But I'm trying. It's been a little bit of a struggle the last couple of weeks, but I feel like I've kind of dug myself back out, and I'm doing okay. But I have the next week off, and I am so grateful for that. And I'm going to hopefully top up my freckles. If anyone knows me, you know I love having freckles. I got quite a lot on my hands and like my lower arms. I don't really get much on my face that I notice because of the rosacea. Like you can see, like my big circle of red here. Also, do we like the hair? I've brought the curls back. This is my natural hair. I find it really ironic. On Facebook memories, it came up. I posted a picture of Meg Ryan. Like 9 years ago, I posted this photo of a celebrity, and she had ringlets, but they clearly were not natural. They were either put in with tongs or rollers or something. And I posted up about being like, okay people, which hairdressers do you know do perms? I really want my curly hair back, because for anyone that doesn't know, I used to have really, really long hair as a kid, and at the bottom I had ringlets, and then I got my hair cut from like there to like here, and it's almost like we just cut off all the curls, and they never really grew back. And as I got older, that it upset me. It did upset me. And I wanted nothing more than for my curls to come back. And I started the curly girl method a couple of years ago, and I was like, this is a lot of effort. Like, this is a lot of effort. I don't like it. I'm just gonna not bother. And that's when I cut all my hair off as well. And then I've decided that I yo-yo between wanting the freedom and freeness of having short hair, but I also then really want my curly long hair. And so I've started doing what I need to do to get my curls, which is only an extra 2 products, which is nothing compared to the original curly girl method. And this is day 3. So I washed my hair Friday. Yeah, Friday I last washed my hair. And so this is day 3 of just freshening it up in the morning. And I'm really, really pleased with it. I'm also trying to grow like a lot of the natural colour out. So as much as I said I'm naturally ginger, my hair went brown when I was in my late teens. So yeah. That's a lot you didn't need to know about me, and I've now got 30 seconds to sign off. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with me, because this is probably close to 2 hour mark, and for just waiting for me to put out the next podcast. My eyes twitching. But yeah, please hit the like and subscribe button because it will let more people find my video. But please stay safe, have fun, and happy crafting, and I will see you on the next podcast. Bye!